It's Roger Glenn. I'm a realtor with Poss Realty in Rabun County, Georgia, the northeasternmost county in Georgia. Today's episode 3 of our 52-week series, Tips and Trades of Real Estate, is going to focus on some frequently asked questions. And this is specific to Rabun County, although some of the things that I talk about are certainly applicable to real estate transactions in general, mostly on the residential side, regardless. But again, we're going to kind of focus on frequently asked questions, things that people often wonder about Rabun County. If you spent much time here, you probably realize some of this. But if you've not and are interested in the market, hopefully this is informative, maybe slightly entertaining, as it relates to some things that other people have asked and some information that we'll share about some of the unique issues that we have. Like many places in the country, the market is very hot in the sense that there's a lot of demand and relatively low inventory. That's pretty challenging. So one of the questions people ask immediately is, will it even be possible for me to find the home that I'm looking for in Rabun County, Georgia? And I will not delude you. It is in fact difficult to do because of the dynamics that I just spoke of a minute ago, but it is not impossible. I think the key for a lot of buyers is to have their financing prepared, have the best sense possible of what they're looking for, and think through the process of how it is they'll compete effectively in the marketplace. And this is something a realtor should be able to help you with, to include being your eyes and ears, your boots on the ground, and also working through their network to kind of identify properties that may be coming on the market soon, so that when a property hits the market that you're interested in, you can facilitate the showing process and, as appropriate, make an offer on that house and have an offer that has characteristics that are most attractive to the seller. I would never encourage someone to forego appropriate or prudent due diligence on a real estate transaction. I believe that you should continue to protect your right to due diligence and to contingencies where appropriate or absolutely necessary. And in some cases, it's difficult to compete with other buyers, but you have to do what makes good sense for you. But your real estate agent, your realtor, should help you make your offer as attractive as it possibly can be. And speed in this market certainly does matter. I'm seeing it more commonplace now that even properties that receive multiple offers are often granting a week, 10 days to include out-of-town buyers so that they can come and see the property in person, as oftentimes there's a lot of concern about a sight unseen offer. And so speed is probably less important than it was a couple of months ago. And I think realtors, again, are sort of adjusting to the fact that when they're aggregating demand for their seller clients, that includes leaving it on the market long enough for more than 5 people who happen to be sitting around doing nothing other than waiting for their house to come on the market before they accept one of those offers. A little tongue-in-cheek humor there, of course. A lot of folks, because inventory is fairly low, they may have gone through the experience of having offered on a home, not gotten a bid, and they get frustrated. And it is a frustrating experience because to some degree, you become invested in that property. In order to make a decision about whether to buy it or make an offer for it, you have to sort of imagine yourself living in it. And so to some degree, you get emotionally invested in that property, and nobody likes losing. If you do, I'd have to talk to you. Most people do not like losing. And when your offer is not accepted, it feels like losing, but you really shouldn't treat it that way because in 99% of cases, there's absolutely nothing personal about it. So because a lot of folks have had a difficult time or think they'll have a difficult time buying a home, they say, let me build. Can you build in Rabun County? Yes, you can. Happens all the time. The only thing that I would say is there are some unique considerations and some things you need to be mindful of when it comes to building. A lot of people think, well, I'll just go up and build in Rabun County. I'll buy a piece of land, but you have to understand zoning. You have to understand ordinances. You have to understand community and homeowners associations and their rules and covenants and restrictions. about size of the home, things of that nature, that when a home already exists, you don't necessarily have to contemplate all of those things. You have to, in many cases, consider whether or not the lot will pass a percolation test, or what they call soil testing, so that you can place a septic if it's not on a public sewer. And most places are not on a public sewer, so they have a septic system. You have to consider the source of water, which is most commonly, again, a well. Depending upon the elevation of your lot and the topography, that can be an expensive endeavor. Many people choose to have driveways paved. It depends, again, on the topography of the particular lot that you're looking at. All of those things you have to factor in, obviously, to the cost of the total cost of ownership. And when you talk to most builders, they're talking about building the home. And so there can also be challenges that relates to coordinating different contractors to do different parts of that process for you, and making sure they have experience in doing those things. Again, your realtor can help you with that process, but suffice to say, it is significantly more complex than simply buying a single family home and moving into it, if you will. Some of the other challenges that are unique. Rabun County is largely a rural area, and so the proliferation of the internet has not yet reached its sort of optimal point. And so one of the things you have to be mindful of, particularly if you're working from home or doing something that requires broadband access, whether you consider that 25 megabits per second or more, is to understand who the service providers are and what the speed and performance you can get in terms of uploads and downloads of internet. It's certainly a common factor. And again, your realtor should be able to help you or point you in the right direction to answer some of those questions that you might have. Is the weather onerous in Rabun County? We certainly have a full 4 seasons. Although our winters are relatively mild, we do get a lot of rainfall. It's a very temperate environment. It, for all intents and purposes, has characteristics of a rainforest with about 70 inches of rain. It generally comes in large rainfalls, though, and that creates some challenges in terms of soil and erosion. And those are things that, again, your builder, you'll be mindful of on a lot that can be unique. And so it can be more challenging in the wintertime, in particular, when we have ice storms and snowstorms, to access your home or use public roads. But the county and the cities here do salt. We have salt trucks, things of that nature. But if you live high up on a mountain that's in a fairly isolated place, that can be a challenge for you. So that's just something to factor in terms of your lifestyle, quality of life, and other things to factor into Rabun County. I won't say it's a negative, because it's a part of the process of weather, and it is what it is, as they say. So again, if you're considering Rabun County, a lot of wonderful things to offer, but some things that you need to be careful of as it relates to a real estate transaction, trying to find a home, a land, and depending upon your timing, hopefully your realtor puts you in the absolute best position that you can possibly be in, not only to find the right property at the right price, but at the right time and with full awareness of all of the aspects of that acquisition. So that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this. Again, if you have topics you'd like to discuss, please get in touch with me. We'd be happy to address those in a future episode. We're going to do 52 of these, roughly one a week, over the course of the next year. So we've got plenty of room to accommodate requests. We'll see you next time.